Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. We can use a method of FOIL, where we do the first, outer, and inner last terms, and we can also use box multiplication. So, as we do, I'm going to stick with the box multiplication because I think that's the one that most students are comfortable with, but be aware there is a different way of doing these answers. So, g plus 3, I'm just going to write at the top. If it's a positive 3, I'm not going to put the plus sign, but if it's a negative, as you see here, then I certainly am going to fill in that negative sign. And we can go ahead and multiply all these. So g times g, I'm going to write in here. G times 3, numbers first, letters second. Negative 5 times g, same thing, numbers first, letters second. And then negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And one of the really nice things about the box multiplication is, when we look along this diagonal here, this is always going to be the terms that simplify, so we don't have to look for them too carefully. So our answer, g squared, 3g take away 5g, is negative 2g, and then negative 15. So it makes our collected terms much nicer to do. 2x minus 3, so 2x. As this is a subtract, I'm going to give this one a negative. 2x minus 5. And then we can start filling in the multiplications. So 2x times 2x, 2 times 2 is 4, x times x is x squared. 2x times negative 3, numbers first, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and then that letter second. Negative 5 times 2x, numbers first, negative 5 times 2, and then the letter, and then the last one, negative 5 times negative 3, is positive 15, so I'm just going to write down 15. Very careful on the last one, a lot of people do want to do negative 5 take away 3. Remember that you are multiplying at this stage. Now when we look along the diagonal here, 4x squared is my first term, negative 6x take away 10x, so they're my like terms, and then at the end it says 15, so that must be positive 15, which I'd go ahead and fill in at the end. Now the last two are a couple of special products. Remember what squared actually means? Squared means you multiply by itself, so it's actually asking you x minus 4 times by x minus 4. So the top one's x minus 4, and the one down the side is also x minus 4. So multiplication, x times x, x squared. X times negative 4, numbers first, letters second. Negative 4 times x, same rule. Now on the last one, negative 4 times negative 4, well, I know the two negatives make a positive, and then the 4 times 4 is 16, and I'm just going to put 16, knowing that's the same as positive 16. Look along the diagonal for your simplifying, negative 4x take away 4x is negative 8x, and then we got our positive 16 on the end. Last one, 3x minus 2 times 3x plus 2. Notice it's the same terms, but one's positive and one's negative. So that's also going to give us a special answer as well, as you'll see here. Just to show you, it doesn't actually matter which way around you put them. I actually put the first one down the side this time, and the second one across the top, and you're still going to get the same answer, because this is also the commutative rule. It doesn't actually matter which order you multiply these two things together. So 3x times 3x, numbers first, 3 times 3 is 9, x times x is x squared. 3 times 2 is 6, and then the letter second. Numbers first again, letter second. And negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And the reason this is a special question is, notice the middle two terms, 6x take away 6x. It's going to cancel because it's going to give us 0x, which we're not going to write down. So the answer is just 9x squared minus 4. So whenever you have those two terms that are identical, but one's a positive and one's a negative, that middle term's always actually going to cancel out. Now, if we do have a more difficult question, like you can see on question 20, all that happens is we're going to make a bigger grid. So the number of terms tells you how big to make your box. So I got 3 terms times 3 terms, so I did a 3 by 3 box here. So I'm going to get rid of this answer so we can fill this in a little better. 2x squared, negative x. If you want to write negative 1x then, to remind you that, you can do that as well. Down the side, x squared minus 2x minus 4. Remember, anything that's a positive term, we don't put the plus sign there, we just write down what the term is. Then we can go ahead and start filling this one in as well. So numbers first, 2, and then x squared times x squared. The rule for this is when you multiply, you add the exponents together. So 2 and 2 gives me 4. X squared times negative x, so the sign first, negative. This is x to the 1, so 2 add 1 is 3, because I'm multiplying, so I'm adding the exponents together. X squared times 3, numbers first, letters second. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Then we add the exponents together, so 1 add 2 is 3. Negative 2 times a negative, that's going to give me a positive 2. And then x times x is x squared. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, and I got the letter at the end of this question. For our last row, numbers first again, negative 4 times 2, negative 8, and then put the letters in at the end, x squared. Negative 4 times negative x, 2 negatives are going to make a positive. I can of course just put positive 4 here. And on our last one, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And same thing, if we look along the diagonals in this direction, there's going to be terms that collect together here. So 2x to the 4th, negative x cubed take away 4x cubed, so negative 1 take away 4 is negative 5 x cubed. 3x squared plus 2x squared is 5x squared, take away 8x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 6x, and then this is a positive 4x, so negative 6 plus 4 is positive 2x. And our last term is negative 12. So look along those diagonals when you're collecting terms together, and it'll show you exactly which terms you can combine. So another reason why I prefer the box method to the FOIL method, it helps organise your answer just that little bit easier. Now, as we've been doing multiplication, let's go to the reverse of that. So in other words, division. And it asks us to find each quotient. Quotient just meaning the answer to a division problem. We know that this is a division problem because we can see the fraction line here. So what we're really doing is we're splitting this into 2 separate questions. We're going to do the first term divided by this, and then we're going to do the second term divided by this. Now the rules for division are that we're going to subtract the exponents. Now for the numbers we just divide as normal, so 12 divided by 2 is 6. Remember, if there is no exponent, you can put a power of 1 if you wish. So when you subtract it, 2 take away 1 is 1, and as it's 1, I'm just going to leave it as 6f. Now if we have exactly the same here, then we can just cancel these out. As long as we have exactly the same on top and bottom, they're going to cancel perfectly. So actually we just have 16 divided by 2 here, which is 8. Notice we're not doing 16 take away 2. We're only subtracting when we're actually working with the exponents. When we divide, we subtract the exponents. And as these are not exponents, this is just a normal division question. Now, I'm not going to split it up like this for each question, but I know that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to do this term divided by this term. So 20 divided by 5, and then b to the 6 divided by b to the 2. Subtract the exponents, gives us 4. On the second one, negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5, so I'm going to put subtract 5. b cubed divided by b squared, subtract 3 take away 2 is 1. As it's the power of 1, I don't actually need to put that exponent there. The last question in the pretest just goes to show you it doesn't matter how many terms you have, you should still be able to repeat this process. So 21 divided by 3 is 7, subtract the exponents, 4 take away 2 is 2. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4, subtract the exponents, 3 take away 2 is 1. So I'm not going to put t to the 1, I'm just going to put t again. And for our last one, notice we got exactly the same thing here. So I said earlier, when you have exactly the same thing, you can just cancel them out. Now we're going to be a little careful on doing this one though. The t squareds cancel. You've got to be very careful with the 3's. You can't just cross them out, because 3 divided by 3 is actually 1. So when you have it exactly the same, make sure you don't cancel everything out. Make sure that you put 1, and then you should be okay. Now if we had done that for this, we would have got that same answer. F divided by f is 1. 16 times 1 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. So if 2 terms are identical, just be a little careful on that one. And that certainly appears on the SOL with that style of question. Okay, and that concludes the pretest for Unit 7.